It's time now for perspective. According to most tellings, South Africa's anti-apartheid movement was spearheaded by a determined group of young black men fighting to break free from the shackles of white minority rule. But what about women's role in the fight? And 30 years on from apartheid, how many battles are South African women still fighting? Well, my guest today is Jacqueline Dérens, anti-apartheid campaigner and author of Femmes d'Afrique du Sud, or Women of South Africa in English. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us here on France 24. Why is it, do you think, that our collective vision of anti-apartheid history is so male-dominated?
It was male-dominated, you see. I could witness it, you see. Most of the leaders were men. But, you know, side to those strong leaders, there were extraordinary women. And what I want, for example, from my own experience, you see, I came to know Dulcie September. Dulcie September was chief representative of ANC in Paris for France, Luxembourg and Switzerland. And unfortunately, she was a very strong woman, you know, very determined, very active, very straightforward, you see. But unfortunately, you know, she was killed at the door of her office in Paris. And she was my friend. She was not only an activist, but she was my friend. And through Dulcie September, I came to know a lot of very strong women. You know, I met Frini Ginwala, who was, after 1994, who was the first lady to be speaker at the House, at the National Assembly, you see. So that was extraordinary, you know, this Indian woman having this post, you see. And a lot of those very strong women are just, you see, in fact, it's a long succession of struggles. Women have always been struggling against injustice.
Now, so, of course, apartheid did come into effect in 1948, but in your book you also do talk about the earlier struggles women faced under colonial rule as well.
Sorry?
You say in your book that it wasn't just at the start of apartheid that women started playing a role fighting oppression, that they also played an active role before apartheid.
That's it, you know. And I think what is very important and which is very interesting is that those ANC women, but not only ANC women, I talked about the Black Sash women, you know, were strong women as well, you see, and a lot of others, women in trade unions, women in political parties, women fighting for their own rights. You see, I talk a lot because I was very impressed by the 9th August 1956, you see, when 20,000 women marched over the government buildings in Pretoria, you see, and they were fighting against what was a very big injustice, you see, the famous pass, you see.
The famous what, sorry?
Pass. You know, when men had to carry, black men had to carry this ID, this form of ID, you see, and the apartheid government wanted to apply it, you know, to make it compulsory for women as well. And they simply revolted against this unjust law. And, you know, you could see women acting and taking part in the struggle. And what they did, you know, when they took part in the struggle against apartheid, because apartheid for them, you see, was really the expression of their triple oppression they were suffering from. Black women were suffering because they were women, as other women. Black women were suffering because they were black, and black women were suffering because they had the least paid jobs all over, you know, in South Africa. So, you know, they fight against that. They take part in trade unions, you see, to fight for pay equality, to fight for maternity leave, and so on, which were women revendications, you see, women rights. And gradually, from fighting on, can I say, bread and butter issues, They came, you know, to take part in politics, because when you fight for bread and butter issues, in fact, there are political issues.
And what about these political issues as far as they manifest themselves today, 30 years on from apartheid? Well, what are the main issues facing South African women?
The main issues is violence, you see, because unfortunately you can read in the newspaper every day atrocious crimes against women, you see, rape. You know, I don't remember the exact figures, but when you read the statistics, you know, the statistics are simply horrendous, you see. And today, young women, older women are fighting against rape and violence, gender-based violence, you see. That's the main issue today. But of course, because they are victims, they are the main victim of that violence, which is, unfortunately, you know, South Africa is a violent country, but I mean, the past was violent. You can't expect the society to change overnight, you see. So it's ingrained in the mentality. But women are the victims of that violence, you see. And today, young women are really fighting against that, you know. And all of them, there are plenty of marches, demonstrations, you see. And of course, South Africa today is part of the world. So the Me Too campaign, you know, had echoes in South Africa as well.
Jacqueline Dérens, anti-apartheid campaigner and also author of Femmes d'Afrique du Sud, the Women of South Africa. Thank you very much indeed for coming on to speak to us at France 24.
Thank you.
A reminder now of our top headlines here on France 24.